one of the things we're seeing is curb appeal on some of these properties are really starting to look good. We're starting to see the grass green up, people get excited, your photos start to look a little bit better in the properties that we're listing. So that makes things a little bit nicer as far as pictures and advertising. We have with us, like always here in the studio, our in-house lending specialist, Mr. Tom Coyne. Tom, how have you been?
We're doing fantastic. We're having a banner month again at Umpqua, so the market is busy. We're doing a lot of refis, a lot of construction loans, a lot of purchases, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen our call volume increase tremendously. Our agents have just been popping and been really, really busy out there. Before we jump into today's topic, we always like to start off with our crazy celebrity real estate story. And this one is Grateful Dead's bassist Phil Lesh listed a Marin County estate. And this is an absolute beautiful, beautiful property in California. It is almost 8,000 square feet. Yeah, and so that is just absolutely nuts for that area of town. When you take 8,000 square feet, put it on 2 acres, that pretty much comes in with a list price of $10.3 million.
Wow.
So a little bit insane. And Tom, I know as the mortgage guy, you always like to know, what would my payment be?
Yeah, please tell me.
And so, just based upon the mortgage calculator that we looked at Zillow.com there, that's coming out roughly to be $42,000 a month.
Wow.
So just
it's absolutely incredible.
A little bit of a payment
that's
there.
A big payment. Yeah, I'm going to pass.
Yeah, absolutely. Another point of interest around that 8,000 square foot mark, not exactly 8,000 square feet of a house, but some people might have noticed, seen there was an article in the paper about it in the Tri-City Herald this last week, that there's a significant addition that is going up on the Moore Mansion. So if you have a chance to glance over there, they are adding some meeting rooms, updating some bathroom facilities, and having some spots to help with their whole catering, entertainment, event type business there. So it's fun to see some of that, and they've done such an amazing job restoring that property and just being kind of an iconic Tri-Cities landmark. So you're going to see a little bit of construction, and when you're going over the Blue Bridge there, that's what's going on over there.
Very cool. Very cool.
Now, back to our local topic. We were talking earlier this week, and Tom brought up a great point, and that's when he said, Lance, it's crazy because sometimes I think people get a certain image in their head of what somebody does or doesn't do. And so you said, you had a great story that said, gosh, this would be a great opportunity to do a show that reminds people exactly what it is that we do and what services we provided. Because, we've added some businesses, we've added some divisions, there's new loans, that type of stuff. So let's go over a list of services for exactly what you do. And actually, the story that brought this up was just a fantastic one where, Tom, you had somebody in your office and they said, gosh, I have this house to sell. I was going to call this Kenmore guy that I was referred to, but I'm concerned that the house is only about 95 or 100,000. So who do you think I should call? And you were like, Well,
of course,
that's
call
the
Lance.
guy.
Yeah,
that's the guy you should call,
Lance.
right? And the client was like, "Oh gosh, well, I thought maybe he just did high-end houses or just worked in upper market, something that low." And so it's like absolutely not the case. Like, you know, we're still working all price ranges that have real property, meaning there's an actual lot attached to the property. About the only thing that sometimes gets lumped into real estate that we don't do, and so this is a great show to say that, is we don't do manufactured homes that are on a rented lot. Mm-hmm. And because that ends up becoming a title application where that's really still titled as a vehicle, mm-hmm. and there's no real property property attached to that. So with our firm and our real estate, we absolutely do manufactured homes that are on owned property, that are on a lot, and especially once the title's been eliminated, we'll help people with that process. But price range wise, we're not at the point where we say, hey, we don't list stuff under $100,000. We've had plenty of listings that were 50. Just last month we did a $65,000 home, 70, 80. That is not a cutoff that we have. Absolutely, those are still listings that we want, clients that we want to help people get those homes sold, and so we're willing to take a look at that. And in fact, since we're on that subject, the number one thing I had written down about that, and Tom, you hadn't even told me that story before, until we came here right before we got on the air, but I had written down is that I have seller services, and part of those services that we help people with to get their home sold or to decide if they should sell. This is a huge part of our business. That's actually represents about roughly 60 to 65% of our business, helping sellers depending on the time of year and the year that we look at our historical data. But number one is what we're doing is we're helping give people advice for what they need to do. What do you need to do to prep your house to get it ready, to get it on the market? We help people evaluate the market, look at the data, look at what price points are selling faster than other price points. That rolls right into when we end up then helping people schedule and look at service providers, give you names and numbers of people that can help you accomplish certain projects at the house. Now, all of that comes into play is a service that we provide, and unless we sell the house, there's no charge for those services. So that evaluation, that decision, should we be selling, that market analysis for the house, if we have a legitimate shot at your business and we're helping you make that decision, that is absolutely something that we do. On the flip side of that, occasionally there's things that happen, whether that be with estates, people checking values. Part of that service we have is people will give us a call sometimes and just say, hey, I'm not listing my property for sale, but I am thinking about potentially selling it to a brother or selling it to another family member, or the estate wants to know roughly where we think the market value of this house is. Depending upon what it's for, a lot of times we will refer that out to an appraiser to get a full-blown appraisal done, but a lot of times if they don't want a full-blown appraisal, sometimes people will just want what's called a BPO, and that's called a broker price opinion. And so we also have a fee for that, where we can say, okay, great, we're not going to be listing this home. Thank you for telling us that up front, but we can come out and give you a BPO value. It's not as extensive as a full-blown appraiser would be, but that generally runs, depending upon the property, $200 to $300 for that. So that's another additional service in addition to just helping sellers that we have. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. And then most importantly, at the end of that process with the seller, is helping them negotiate the highest possible price in the least amount of time. And we really feel that is one of our biggest things that we bring to the table. Knowing what the market's done, knowing if there's been properties around there that have been in multiple offers, so we know where to price that property. In a market that's moving very fast like this, and sometimes the information from 2 weeks ago, that's not public information, but an agent might be able to find out, could really make the difference in a seller netting an additional $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. So on the helping seller side of things, that is a huge portion of some of the services we offer.
And again, there's not just a limited sales price. It's anyone who's got a home out there.
Yeah, absolutely. We have not relegated to a sales price where we say we're not going to do anything under $70,000 or we're not going to do anything under $100,000. That's just not the case. case. And like I said, even in the last couple of months, when we're looking at a price point, the average price point in the Tri-Cities of that $225,000 to $230,000, we work a lot of those price points on the low side of that and the high side of that for sure. Mm-hmm. So, and we have having a large enough team like we have at the Kenmore team is we have people that are best suited for different situations. So if someone calls and said, hey, I've got an $800,000 house to sell, then we'll be able to put you with a team member that has the experience in that price point versus someone that might say, hey, I have a $200,000 house to sell and it's in West Richland. We might put you with a team member that lives in that neighborhood out in West Richland and knows that market very, very well because they're living in it. And so we have a lot of options there, and we lean on our team members for that expert advice all the time. So, Tom, we're going to come up on our first break here, but before we go to break, why don't you start us off with a little teaser on the lending side of some of the services you provide?
Well, Lance, we have just about every loan product that's out there, and we don't have a minimum dollar amount either. I think we've closed down at $40,000 loan, and I've closed an over $1 million loan. So wide range of services we offer. But yeah, when we come back from the break, I want to go through all the different types of products that we offer and give you a little bit of background on some pros and cons of each one of those.
Sounds great, Tom. We'll be right back.
Right here on News Talk 870.
Welcome back to the Tri-Cities Real Estate Update. We've been talking here with Tom Coyne at Umpqua. Before the break, we were going over kind of a menu of services that each of our firms, between Umpqua and the Kenmore team, that we provide to the consumers out there. Before the break, we talked a little bit about seller representation on the Kenmore team. On the flip side of that, we also have exclusive buyer representation, which is something that not a lot of people get in this market. A lot of times you'll run into an agent that's trying to do sellers and buyers, or extensively one or the other. And sometimes what can end up happening is they might not be as good with either one if they could specialize. And so we've really broken that role down on our team. We're going to let Tom talk a little bit about some of the things that Umpqua does. And when we come back and finish up, we're going to talk a little bit about the importance of having an exclusive buyer's agent for yourself when you're out there looking to build, considering your options in the real estate world as a buyer. But first, Tom, why don't you let us know what the heck are you doing over there at Umpqua?
Well, with how low the inventory is, Lance, it should be no surprise to you or anyone that we're doing a lot of construction loans. I feel like I'm getting one or two phone calls a day, but then I'll get one out of the blue from, say, a past client or a business partner, and they say, hey, do you do construction loans? And I feel like I'm telling everyone we do construction loans, but yes, we do. And we do them really, really well. And now the best part of our construction loans, aside from just 5% down is all we require, is our closing cost structure is really low. Generally, the closing costs always come in at under $5,000 for any size of project. So when you're out there shopping for your custom construction financing, definitely give us a shot for that product. I think too many lenders out there, they just make it difficult. And I think that's the taste that's been left in people's mouth on construction loans is, I don't want to do it. I'm going to have the builder finance it because it's just going to be too hard. And that's certainly not the case. We walk you through from start to finish the entire process and try to make it as painless as possible. Now, there's a lot of benefits for a client who gets a construction loan versus having the builder finance it. And it usually comes down to dollars and cents. If the builder builds the house and then sells it to you, they're going to pay 1.78% in excise tax. So if your house is, $200,000, that's almost $3,600 in excise tax that builder is going to pay. That is probably going to get wrapped into your budget somewhere. So if you get a construction loan, the builder isn't selling you the house. You're financing the build yourself. You avoid the excise tax on that entire build. So if you want to talk about more savings, because there's more pieces that go into it, but there's a lot of benefits to doing construction loans. We're doing a lot of them. So if you're thinking about building, I'd love to chat with you about your projects. Now, the next one that ties right into this that we've rolled out here and kind of revamped our product is our renovation loan. What is so great about the renovation loan is I get people that call all the time and they say, hey, I want to do a refinance. I need to get $20,000 to do whatever. And I say, okay, great. What's the value of your house right now? And what's your balance? And you can generally only go to 80% of the current value on a cash out refinance. So let's use easy numbers and say your house is worth $100,000. You owe $60,000 on it. If we can only go to 80%, that means we're only potentially getting you, $20,000 in that example. But maybe you don't have the equity to take all those funds out. What's great about this renovation loan is we go to 95% of the future appraised value. So you go and get me your plans, your specs, your drawings. You can do this with a purchase. You could do this on a refinance on a house you already own. Maybe you're working with Lance's team. You found the perfect house but doesn't have a shop. You can really use this renovation loan for anything. The appraiser then goes out there and tells us what is this home going to be worth after these repairs or remodels or additions are completed. And as long as we have that equity position of 5% when all said and done, then we could potentially get you into one of these renovation loans and finance that whole project. The rates are incredible, so it's a really affordable way to do these repairs.
And one of the things, Tom, that I point out to a lot of our clients is in a tight inventory market, there's going to be some homes that maybe need more work that a client wouldn't have generally looked at before. But when the options are really, really limited, sometimes you have to look at some of those fixer-uppers. And by having this program available, it's another option for somebody to maybe get the house they want, get a little better deal on it, and then also be able to finish it the way they want. So
yeah, maybe it needs flooring on it or paint. I mean, you could wrap all that stuff into it.
I really like having that as an option in this type market.
Now, another program that I do a lot is what's called lender-paid mortgage insurance. Now, this is used on conventional loans. You got to have a 5% down. But how it works is we'll generally raise your interest rate a little bit, and by doing that, we're able to increase the yield spread premium that the bank uses to then go pay your mortgage insurance upfront for you. Let's say that upfront mortgage insurance is 2% and you have a $200,000 loan. The bank's going to write a check for $4,000. That goes to the mortgage insurance company, and in return, you never have to pay the mortgage insurance monthly. So you automatically have saved payments monthly on your mortgage payment. Now, another benefit is the tax benefits. If you qualify for the interest deduction on your taxes for the mortgage interest you pay, you're essentially paying your mortgage insurance by having a little bit higher interest rate. So you're going to have those after-tax benefits of going this route too. I would say 99.999% of my clients go this route if they qualify for this program. So if you haven't heard of that before, if you want to see that could save you some money, feel free to reach out. Tying in, like I said, with the lender-paid mortgage insurance, again, these are used on conventional loans. We have either fixed rate or adjustable rate mortgages. Generally, you want to see your credit scores above 700 to get into a conventional loan. Now, that may change if you have over 20% down, but conventional loans are very credit score driven, meaning that the lower your credit scores, the higher your rates. And again, if you have less than 20% down, lower your credit scores, the higher the mortgage insurance. So as long as your credit has put you in a position where you're a well-qualified client, good credit scores, conventional is going to be your way to go. Now, let's say you're below 700. A lot of times we'll look at an FHA loan. Now, what's great about FHA is they only require 3.5% down, but we'll do these all the way down to a 620 credit score. And the rates are really, really good on FHA loans, even in comparison to conventional. Now, the downside, though, is FHA has high mortgage insurance, and there's also a funding fee that gets wrapped into your mortgage. So you're going to have a little bit higher mortgage insurance and a higher closing cost because of this mortgage insurance that's wrapped into your loan. But great program, definitely more lenient guidelines. So if you've had credit challenges in the past, or maybe your debt to income is a little bit higher than what conventional like, FHA is going to be a route that we're going to look to go for you. Now, if you're a veteran, the VA loan's probably going to be your best bet. Of course, it's zero down, and there's no monthly mortgage insurance, and the rates are incredible. So 9 times out of 10, if you're a veteran, you look to go VA. I've had people come in and say, well, Tom, I already have this VA loan on the west side of the state that's a rental now. We moved over here. I can't have another VA loan. That's not the case. And you can actually have more than one VA loan in your lifetime, too. So look into the VA loan if you're a veteran. You know you're eligible for that. It's probably a really good option. Tying in with VA zero down is the zero down home advantage loan. Now, this loan's used in conjunction with FHA, but to make that down payment, we're going to give you a second mortgage, and that second mortgage covers the down payment, and that second mortgage has no interest and no payments on it. You do have to pay it back in 30 years if you sell or if you ever refinance. So really good tool to get you in with zero down. And last one, Lance, I want to go over is manufactured homes. You were talking about this before the break. We'll finance these on all of our programs. Even our construction loan has an option of doing a land home package with just 10% down. What I've been seeing a lot lately is people who have, say, maybe an existing manufactured home, they want to move that one off and bring a new one in from the dealership and put it in its place. We'll finance the entire removal of the old home and the build and install of the new one. So great product. Again, 10% equity. If you already own your land, that's probably making your down payment. So a ton of different options, but we do them all. Certainly don't think that we have a minimum loan amount or anything like that. And if you ever have financing questions or want to see what options are available to you, call me at the office, 783-7300, or on my website at tomcoinhomeloans.com.
Tom, I should have given you the entire half hour.
I saw you holding the microphone like, come on, Tom.
I don't even know how you can keep track of all of that. I mean, yeah, there's a lot going on.
He did that all by memory,
You
folks.
guys have a wide range of services there, and that's fantastic. And I know you've been helping a ton of our clients recently, so I really appreciate it and letting them know what those options are. One of the things we talked a little bit about prior to Tom going over some of that is another service we have at the Kenmore team, and that is exclusive buyer representation. So when we get a buyer that comes into our team, we like to put them with a buyer's agent who is extremely hyper focused on making sure that that client finds the right house. And when you're in a tight market like this, one of the things that can happen if you have an agent that is trying to do everything, maybe they're tied up with an issue at closing. We have a closing coordinator that handles those. Maybe they're working on a flyer for another seller or another listing, or trying to do something with the bank there. Those are things that we have taken on our team, and we have delegated specific roles to handle each of that process so that your buyer agent can really be on top of what's going on in the market. And in this market, when you have 3, 4, 5 offers coming in, potentially houses going under contract the same day or the same evening that they're listed in the MLS, you really need to have somebody, and more important than ever, to have that hyper focus as a buyer agent.
I like the idea of that, because if you have someone that does both, then maybe one of them is more focused on what for sale by owners are coming up, so we could potentially turn that into a sale for you guys and a listing, versus if they have 6 people that are all shopping for houses, they know exactly what these clients want, and they're really vigilant about watching when those come on the market.
Yeah, it really works out well, and a lot of times now what they're even doing is they're finding a lot of off-market deals or that for sale by owner. Those buyer agents are really spending a lot of time procuring some properties for their buyers that might not otherwise have been on the market. So it's a great system. We've got fantastic buyer agents on our team. If you have any questions about that process or purchasing, you can always go to kenmoreteam.com and get a hold of us there. Now, one of the big thing is inventory, and I've got a quick pick 3 here. We do have some great new inventory that just came on the market. We have a fantastic estate style type home. This is 13108 Cottonwood Creek Boulevard. This is out in Cottonwood, out in Badger Canyon, West Kennewick out there. And this is a 4-bedroom, 4-bath with a den and a bonus room. And that is 3,589 square feet. Beautiful hardwood floors, bright living room with a great fireplace, huge kitchen for the entertainer. We've got tile floors, corian countertops, big island, stainless steel appliances. I mean, this place is really dialed in. You've got a main level master suite with a private bath, your bonus room, family room on the upper level, as well as 3 big secondary bedrooms. Then on top of all of that, you've got out back, separately fenced, gorgeous in-ground swimming pool. And all of this on a larger lot at $474,900. So great value to get all of that and the pool just in time for summer to enjoy the pool. Great listing there. Pick number 2, this is 29205 875 PRSE. So this is out in Kennewick, Badger Canyon also. This is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath home on an acre, 1,848 square feet, and it's got also, for that square footage number, a great open layout, large living room. You've got master suite with a private bath, great country location, and that one is coming in at $179,900. So that's a great opportunity to get out in Badger Canyon at a lower price point there.
There's a lot of people under 200,000 want stick built, right? But in the square footage of that, and that's a great price point. That's
so there's a lot. There's another great listing, and then pick number 3. This is absolutely another gorgeous. I call it almost a state-like house. Now going the other side of the river, West Pasco. This is 8706 Maple Drive over in Pasco. This is a 3-bedroom, 3-bath with a bonus room. It's on 1 1/4 acre with a shop, large shop. 3163 square foot house, wraparound covered porch, looks out over a circular driveway. Gorgeous landscaping. You've got formal dining room and a dining nook, open living room with the fireplace, and you've got also master on the main here also. The shop is 40 by 32, so it's got a taller RV bay. It's also got additional covered storage off the side of the shop. RV dump, RV plugs, separate power, whole 9 yards. This place is just dialed in, and that's priced at $417,000. Hard to get all of that square footage, newer shop, totally landscaped for that 417 mark. Absolutely a fantastic pick 3 this week. So we've got a lot of great inventory out there. The last menu of services that I had written down to mention, and that's for landlords, and that is our property management division. And so we have a property management division where we can help landlords and owners manage their rental property. We help them determine what the market rents are. We help with the screening of the tenants, the accepting and tracking of the payments, coordinating repairs on the properties. If it's just gotten to be too much, or you're moving out of state and you want somebody watching over that property, you're coming into summer and people get busier, and that's just one thing you want to take off your plate. We have an amazing property management division. We would love to talk to you about that. So if you have any questions at all, go to kenmoreteam.com, shoot me a message, and we'll get you in touch with the right people.